Crooked City, Youngstown, Ohio. It's the title of a podcast that drops on Monday. 15 episodes, 30 to 45 minutes each, focusing on organized crime in Youngstown. It's produced and narrated by Marc Smerling, who's won an Emmy, but it couldn't have been done without the research of Youngstown-based podcast producer Johnny Chechitelli, who's also a producer here at WKBN.
This is the war room.
Podcast producer Johnny Chechitelli showed me his desk covered with research for the podcast Crooked City, which drops on Monday.
These are the transcripts from when the Krabby brothers taped Jim Trafficking accepting bribes.
Crime Town, Bomb Town, Mob Town,
Murder Town,
Murder City, USA.
Youngstown's biggest employers were the steel mills and the mob.
Nationally renowned producer Marc Smerling took much of Chechitelli's 7 years of research to create the podcast.
I can't underestimate the value of Johnny and what he did at WKBN, to be honest. You know, going through all those dusty old boxes, looking at, tons and tons of tape all day long.
In 2016, Smerling dropped a podcast called Crime Town, which focused on organized crime in Providence, Rhode Island.
And I'll never forget, he called me in 2019, and I said, I've been waiting for you to call. I said, this is Crime Town. No offense to Providence, but Youngstown is Crime Town.
Crooked City starts with the closing of the steel mills and follows the timeline of Jim Trafficking.
I want to look at each and every camera because I'm stone cold nuts, and I'm going to say it. The mob should get out of Youngstown.
There's a lot of things in here where you think you know the story, but then you hear it and you say, wow, I didn't know that.
Smerling made 8 visits to Youngstown and was given tours.
And showed me where the All-American Club was and the Numbers Bank.
Having covered organized crime now in 2 cities, Smerling has a unique perspective.
There's a fraternal and familial aspect to it that creates this sort of twisted forgiveness, right? People do bad things and they still get forgiven for it.
I asked why start the story of Youngstown's organized crime in the 1970s when it began in the 1930s. Well, Marc Smerling only tells true crime stories with first-person narratives, and there's no one around to talk about what happened way back when.